Russian dictator Vladimir Putin has stated that he is constantly thinking about a successor and that several candidates will probably be chosen, and then something like a casting will begin. Ukrainian political scientist Vadim Denisenko explained what this means. First, the topic of a successor has been taboo in Russian politics for quite some time, and the previous presidential elections held in March 2024 seemed to put an end to this issue. However, a situation has developed in Russia in which the taboo on a successor has not prevented the elites from actually living within the logic of the transition of power. Second, what is the logic of the transit? First of all, in the system of global redistribution of property. The redistribution is happening in the interests of 7 families: Chemezov, Patrushev, Kiriyenko, Rotenberg, Kovalchuk, Sechin and Kadyrov, although the latter has not received anything over the past year. It seems that this group of people is becoming a new super elite. At the same time, the Patrushev-Chemezov tandem remains the most powerful, despite the fact that Patrushev has de facto lost his status as an overseer of the security forces. Third, it is worth dwelling separately on the fact that the latest catalyst for the successor theme was Putin's special envoy, Dmitriev, whom some immediately began to classify as a family protégé, due to his closeness to Putin's daughter. Also, with a high degree of probability, we can say that Dmitriev himself was subjected to a certain obstruction by the old guard. At the same time, it is definitely too early to talk about Dmitriev as a family protégé. Fourth, it is important to pay special attention to the fact that Russian society has long been pregnant with the idea of a successor. Sociological studies have shown that more than half of the population is afraid that Putin will die without appointing a successor, and a third believes that there is a successor, but they will not be shown him yet because it is too early. But, of course, Putin is of little interest in the opinion of the people in this matter. The main reason for the announcement of a successor, apparently, is connected exclusively with elite games. Fifth, so what could have been the catalyst for this statement? First of all, we must proceed from the fact that there will be no successor in the near future. Secondly, Putin still sees his main political role exclusively as the only possible arbiter. Thirdly, such statements are made for 2 reasons: either because of uncertainty and paranoia, or this is a trick so that his entourage will start asking him to stay and not go anywhere. And at the same time, he will test the faithfulness of his entourage. But I repeat, while there is no transition of power, Putin is not going to look for a real successor, but he has already started the game. So the gum about the new Putin has been launched. Well, we need to remember, our greatest threat is the absence of any ideology other than the ideology of the Russian world. 98 to 99% of Russians, including the apolitical and good ones, are to one degree or another adherents of this ideology.
Ukrainian armed forces soldiers attempted to enter the territory of the Kursk region. This was reported on the Baza Telegram channel. According to Russian war correspondents, the Ukrainian armed forces have intensified their attacks in the direction of the village of Tyatkino of Glushkovsky district. The Ukrainian military also blew up a bridge near Zvanoy. Correspondents added that, as in previous attacks, the Ukrainian armed forces are trying to destroy bridges over the same river and its tributaries to complicate the logistics of Russian troops. The armed forces of Ukraine's Kursk operation, which has been going on for 9 months, has achieved most of its goals. Thanks to it, Russia's offensive campaign in Sumy and Kharkiv regions was prevented, says the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine, Oleksandr Syrsky. According to Sersky, during his working visit, he awarded soldiers who distinguished themselves during the Kursk operation. This operation, which has been going on for 9 months, has achieved most of its goals. Thanks to our active actions in the Kursk region, we managed to prevent the enemy's offensive campaign in the Sumy and Kharkiv regions. The buffer zone created by the Ukrainian defense forces in the border areas remains relevant today, he added. The Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine noted that one of the units that effectively fulfilled the assigned tasks in the Kursk region is the 225th Separate Assault Regiment. I had a pleasant opportunity to communicate with its soldiers and commanders and present them with high state and departmental combat awards for exemplary steadfastness, courage, and heroism, said Sersky. Ukrainian defense forces launched an offensive in the Kursk region in early August 2024. From the very first days, the fighters successfully advanced and took control of more than 100 settlements, including the city of Sudza. In the fall, the Russian military tried to launch an offensive in the Kursk region, but, according to Western media, it failed. According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, as of the end of April, Russian losses in the Kursk sector amounted to more than 60,000 troops.